Hello. The secret to being irrefusably attractive. You wanna know that, right? Of course you wanna know that. You wanna pull like me, don't you? Anyways, there's one secret that's legit it. Or you might think it's to build a good body, to have a deep voice, to have a commanding voice, to look smacks, to, you know, have a skincare routine, make your face look beautiful, look handsome, be strong. Maybe it's to be rich, right? And to a certain extent, yeah, that is true. But do you want to know the holy grail of being attractive? The holy grail, like everything you need to know, like everything I just said could go in the trash can if you don't follow this one simple rule. It's not even a rule, it's something you can live by, right? This one single thing will change the way you live. It's called confidence. It's called ego, right? These two things, that's it. That's all you need. You know, I say ego, but you don't actually even need ego to be that attractive. And let me tell you how you can get these things. I'm gonna go over ego first. So, when I say ego, people, they get on the defensive side. They're like, okay, but ego isn't good for you. Like, ego is like the downfall of so many big conquerors and stuff, and it's all bullshit. All of these entrepreneurs and all of these sports people, they'll come up and say, they'll come up and be humble. Like, DC, Daniel Cormier, he's this UFC champion, he's a double-time UFC champion. He'll be really humble when he talks, right? Same with Mighty Mouse, right? Demetrius Johnson, take, what's his name? Take the basketball star, for example, MJ and Michael Jordan. He'll be humble when he talks. Shaq also, sometimes he'll be humble. All of these players, they're going to be humble and say, everything, it goes to my parents, and, to some extent it does. It goes to, I'm nothing, I grew up in a humble household and stuff like that, but ego is why Ronaldo is Ronaldo. Ego is why Daniel Cormier is Daniel Cormier. Ego is why, Conor McGregor is the biggest example of ego. Ego is why Conor McGregor is Conor McGregor. Everyone's heard of Conor McGregor. You're a footballer, you know who Conor McGregor is. Same with Ronaldo, right? Ego is why Ronaldo is Ronaldo. Ego is why Lamine Yamal is Lamine Yamal. All of these people, right? These retired boxers and stuff, Gervonta Davis. Ego is why Gervonta Davis is Gervonta Davis. Mike Tyson, same thing with him. He seems very humble. Even Muhammad Ali, to a certain extent, everyone sees Muhammad Ali as this, beautiful creature, beautiful human being, right? He's so perfect. He's a poet, right? But do you know how egoistical Muhammad Ali was? You can, like, if you've ever done martial arts, you can see it in the way he fights. He has a huge ego, right? And people criticize ego. It's not bad, especially if you're a man. I don't know if you're a girl, right? But if you're a man, you need ego. And by ego, I don't mean like, you step into, a boxing gym and you're like, oh, I'm gonna beat the hell out of all these guys. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. That's not what ego is, right? That's called fake ego. Fake ego is what useless men have, right? However, when you talk about ego in its true sense, the real ego, right? It's stepping into a room, looking at people, right? Looking at how other guys talk, looking at how another guy walks, and knowing I could beat him. And realistically knowing I could beat him, right? Or if you see a guy who's like better than you or something, you're like, okay, damn, I respect that, but maybe I'd have a chance against him. That's what real ego is. Stepping into a room and knowing that you're the best in there, when you truly are. That's what ego is. You need to have that. And you may be like, okay, but what if I'm not the best? Then become the best. You need to earn the male ego. That's what the male ego is all about. You need to earn it. That's ego for you, right? You need to have ego, because it's attractive. Girls like ego, right? You need to have ego. You need to earn ego. You need to get strong. You need to start fighting. Maybe you need to start lifting weights. You need to be strong, right? You need to start speaking up. You need to start getting to know girls. You need to start getting to know people. Get good in a certain field that you can have ego about it. Second is confidence. This is the epitome of everything you need. This is the pinnacle of seduction, pinnacle of, what was the word? Yeah, irrefutable attraction. This is the pinnacle of it. I look like this, right? I don't like look. Of course, I'm attracted to a certain extent, right? But I'm not the best at all. Like, I'm not at all the best, right? And I've pulled a lot. I've pulled a lot, right? And you see these ugly guys, like these 2 out of 10s, 3 out of 10s, not even have a body. They'll legit be skinny, and they'll be hanging out with these 8s and 9s and 7s and stuff. Like, how? It's because they have confidence. They're not wusses like you are. It is the only thing you need. And the beautiful part about confidence is that, unlike ego, see, to have ego, you need to earn ego, right? You need to have something to have an ego about. For confidence, no, you don't need something to be confident about. You can legit pull it out of your butt. And you need to believe in yourself. That if I truly believe that I can go and talk to this girl and she'll say yes, if I just truly believe that, right? If I have that belief, right? If I bring that into the universe, that will happen. It's mathematical, right? If I speak to 10 girls today, there's a chance that I might get a yes. However, if I speak to 0 girls, or if I speak to 1 girl, that chance is like, it's barely anything, right? If you speak to 10 girls, you have at least a 1 in 10 chance that maybe that girl will say, no, you don't, wait, I'm having a brain fart right now. Yeah, you speak to 10 girls. If you want to get a yes, you have a 1 in 10 chance, right? You have 10 chances. My bad. You have 10 chances to get a yes. If you speak to 1 girl, you have 1 chance to get a yes. If you speak to 30 girls, you have 30 chances to get a yes, right? It's possibility, right? Let probability die. Possibility is always black and white. Probability is like grey. If you talk to a girl, it's either a yes or no. And if you're confident about it, it's probably going to be a yes. Trust me, 60%, 70% in fact, it's going to be a yes if you're confident about it. This is assuming that you look bad. Like, you look worse than I do. You'd probably get a yes if you look better than I do. Like, if you look as good as me, right, it's probably going to be a 70% chance. If you look worse than I do, probably still going to be like a 65% chance that you get a yes, bro. Because girls, yearn confidence. Keep smiling.